say to the new community hall at Grisbeck, to its future success. Future success. I'm going to have a big Right, I will start off with a few words, actually quite a lot of words in fact, and then we'll have a few words from Richard. Are you prepared, Richard? Yeah, I didn't sort of just drop you in because I don't want to jump to check. And then John, are you happy for a few words after Richard? Great, thank you very much indeed. Right, on behalf of the committee, I would like to obviously give you a warm welcome to this, what we would term a fantastic event. It feels like it from the committee's point of view. Some of us in this room thought this would never happen. The opening of the new community hall at Grisbeck. It is a momentous occasion for us, and it's a momentous occasion, in my opinion, for the community of Kirby Furness. As it was the people of the community that identified the need through the parish plan census, which was through 2004 to 2006, the parish plan was conducted to identify the needs of the community. And one of the things that came out starting was the need for a new community hall. So the appetite for socialising within the parish was very strong. The ideal would have been a community centre in Kirby itself. Practicalities meant that the old hall site in Grisbeck would lend itself to the new development adequately. The road has been a long and hard, and there's been many twists and turns over the last 11 years. We tragically lost 2 of our committee members through accident and illness. Anne Carruthers and Lynn Tyson. They were key members of the committee. It was not only their hard work and commitment, it was their flair and enthusiasm that was so infectious and motivating. They have been a great loss to the community. The fact that we are standing here today holds testimony to their part in its completion. Money raised from from their memorial funds helped in getting the hall completed and furnished. Ian Carruthers and his husband expressly wished for Anne's fund to pay for the stage, part of which I'm standing on now. And I know Anne has been really pleased with our choice of stage. The main lottery funding bid failed us. We were a victim of its massive popularity. In Wren, we found a totally different character. Personable, extremely helpful, and encouraging, yet realistic. Richard Smith, our Wren liaison officer, almost became part of the team, advising where necessary to ensure that we stood every chance in securing a successful bid from the Waste, Recycling and Environmental Board. We would like to give our warm appreciation for the £236,000 that came from Wren Community Development Fund. And it is great to see Richard has made the journey up to be with us today with the family. Thank you. Talking of Richards, there was one born in our locality some 30 odd years ago, and if it was not for the birth of that lad, we would not have this facility here today. Fortunately for us, Richard Parsons built an extremely successful business in the area. Even more fortunately, Richard is generous and has a strong belief in positive, buoyant and cohesive community life. I'm sure I can speak on behalf of the whole community in giving our immense gratitude for the funds that he has made available, not only for this project, but other projects and good causes in the area. Richard lives at the Tower in Broughton. Now, a Captain Rankin used to live at the tower back in the early 1900s, and Captain Rankin donated £150 to the £300 total cost for the build of the original Grosbeck Hall back in 1928. So we have only seen a 125,000% increase in the build cost for this hall. And a note for future committee groups: keep in with the people who live at the tower. Now, if it was not for the generosity of Burlington Slate, we would obviously be getting very, very wet now. The donation of slate for the roof was another massive boost to the successful completion of this hall. Not just the donation of the slate roof, we were given exceptionally good terms with regard to the stone that was laid in the car park. In recognising the hard economic climate pressing the building trade, we pass on our utmost thanks and appreciation to Rob Irwin and his team at Burlington Slate. And although Rob's not here, we will pass on a message to pass our appreciation to Lord Cavendish, who was part of the negotiating process for the donation of the slate. Was that clapping for the fans going on? It was. Good. So, do you want me to start again? We applied to a plethora of funding organisations to top up the funding for the finishing touches to the build. And to the following organisations that replied positively, we are deeply grateful. So there's Garfield Weston, the Hatfield Trust, Ellen and Peel Trust, Sir John Fisher Foundation. There'll be a copy of this for you afterwards, so you can sort of have a look through it then. The Bernard Sunley Foundation, Freda Scott Trust, Rural Development Programme for England, Cooperative Community Fund, Trust House Charitable Foundation, Grassroots, Awards for All, Lottery Fund, Cumberland Building Society, J.H. Burns Charitable Trust. And to those closer to home, we give further thanks. Our local North West Evening Mail, Cumbria Waste Management, Neighbourhood Forum, Keswick Barrow Walkers, Kirby Moor Wind Farm, Apollo Blind Centric, and Ellen W. Wilson. And it does seem a long time ago when Alan Wilson dropped 100 tonnes of stone at the back of the old hall for the contractor's car park. I was just trying to think that was. I think it was 2008 when that happened, but it seems like only yesterday. So to the build. Right, the build. The name on the lifeboat that helped save the Warwing architectural shipwreck in 2008. It was a little bit touch and go at that time. So the name on the lifeboat was Mr. Frank Edwards, or Frank Edwards, who's sitting over there. Frank took on the responsibility of transforming a log build into a timber frame kit to fit our budget. In other words, he had to change a Rolls Royce into a Mini without changing the size, colour or final effect. My first words to Frank were to the effect that we did not trust anybody associated with the building industry. It was just because of the way that what we'd been through up to that point. Well, that statement to Frank was like a red rag to a bull, and he set about the task of changing our minds. He hasn't succeeded. So on behalf of the committee, I'd like to thank Frank for pulling this project around, and it is appreciated that he's put in an effort well over the call of duty in getting this project secured. So thank you very much indeed, Frank. Now, it's your turn now. Albion Construction were the successful tenderers for the build, and it has been a sincere pleasure working with Stuart Allison from Albion Construction. And we thank him for the professional way he has coordinated and managed the build process. Really mean that. There is no build process that goes without a hiccup, and Stuart has communicated well when those hiccups occurred. I look forward to meeting him at the bar in the near future to review the project and find out more detail about the juicy bits, because I'm sure I don't know it all. I think you'll agree that the look of the building both inside and out, is a credit to both Frank and Stuart. And the committee would like to thank you both for such a great outcome. Thank you. We were out there this morning on diggers and rakes and shovels. We laid the tarmac access bell mouth, and we only decided on the design for the veranda, the final design for the veranda, about 4 weeks ago. We had many sorts of ideas. There were about 5 or 6 of us that were in the design team, and we were walking up and down there and we were scratching our heads because we had a difficulty with levels at the back here. We had to accommodate a parking bay for people with special needs. And because of the levels, it was it was a nightmare basically. The designs were only just completed 4 weeks ago, Chris, would it be? I mean, by the time you were sort of... So, we knew that the veranda was going to be in place, but we didn't know where the ramp for the special needs access was going to be. We lifted the level of the veranda to floor level in the hall. The original plan was to go with a ramp from the veranda, which would have been stepped down 9 inches. But we took that out of the equation and went for the big ramp. It has meant extra costs going onto the bill. But what I'd like to do is to really thank Chris Rayburn for pulling out all the stops. A work schedule is normally packed, as far as Chris is concerned, 6 to 8 weeks in advance. Chris had to reschedule, juggle things about in order to get that ramp constructed for today. The last balustrade went in about an hour and a half ago. And we were all sitting in my kitchen, just in our underpants, with steam coming off us, thinking, thank goodness for that, and I didn't have time to smoke my Hamlet cigar. So Chris, thank you very much indeed for managing to pull that one off as well. I think it does look, I mean, it's such a shame that we haven't got the weather with us today, because it does look, the building looks fantastic from down in the car park, viewing up, and it is just one of those things. But I'm sure you'll all want to come back again and see it in its best weather. The other person that has also pulled stops out to a great degree is Simon Mawson. And Simon has been carrying out the civil engineering work, the groundworks for Stuart. And he's taken the project to his heart and has taken on the external works over and above Albion's construction schedule works. So, and he's good, another good lad. He's taken it to his heart and he's charging us far below what would normally be charged, almost at cost, because of the fact that we have got a pretty depleted budget at the moment. So I know Simon hasn't made it back yet. He was another one who took the digger away an hour ago and he hasn't made it back. Okay, that sort of, I think, concludes as far as the bill is concerned. I think what we need to do now is go to the all-important people of the community who have given the time and services or made donations.